Welcome to the Boruto podcast. This is episode 7, where we're going to review the recently released chapter 6. And we've waited 30 days and it came out today. And the cover has Shikamaru portrayed as the Hokage. So I'm joined by, Watch Boruto, Bug Hunter, Flamester, Dimitri, and Justin. And we're going to just have a quick discussion about the recently released chapter. So to start things off, the first page, the first page has the elders, the Land of Fire elders, who I think it's pretty funny that they still keep them in the story and they're still alive. But something really important is that they've always been wrong. All of their decisions for the Hokage, in their opinion, was always wrong. If you guys would pull up the chapter. Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I feel like they're always kind of looking into the best interests of the nobles of the Land of Fire. And they don't really care about the village themselves, but more of like the reputation of the village and how it's seen in comparison to the other villages. So how strong or how fearful it can be to the other villages.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that the elders, they've had a 100% hit rate. Think about it, right? Who'd they do in Naruto to be the next Hokage? Danzo. What happened to Danzo? He died. Before that, who else? I think it was Hiruzen, right? They were the one that picked Hiruzen because it was their teammate or something like that. I don't remember. But it always seems that they just pick the wrong option. So because they are telling Shikamaru to finally, formally become the 8th Hokage instead of just the interim Hokage, I feel like that just means Shikamaru about to die. That's what I'm
thinking. But the fact that he hasn't claimed the title yet, it's almost like he still has hope for Naruto. He doesn't want to give it up.
It's just respect as well. It's not just hope. You know what I mean? It's hope, but it's also like, because Shikamaru, if you remember well, like Shikamaru was one of the only kids that didn't mistreat Naruto when they were growing up and treated him as an equal when everyone else stayed afar from him and didn't really respect them. You know, everyone else was like bullying Naruto and kind of like secluding him and shit like that. You know, and Shikamaru was kind of like always there, you know what I mean? And they were like funnily enough, they were the two lazy kids in the whole village. They were the two people that would fall asleep in classes and stuff. And they ended up highest in all of the village.
Yeah. Yeah. I do like how they brought the village elders back into the storyline, because they were always funny to me, especially in the anime. And Shikamaru says, "I shall report in again soon. Have a good day." So we're gonna see them again, which is cool. So when we move along, he's in the Hokage's office, and he has Ino enter to give him mission logs. And it seems like he had a different reason for bringing her in to talk to her privately, because it seems like now the village intel and everything that's going on, they see all the their transmissions that Ino's clan's powers. I'm not sure what it's called. Mind transfer, I guess. But it's like on another level. Yeah, it's on another level. Mind transmission, mind transfer. Yeah, it's like on another level now, to where they can see it on screens and everyone can listen in. But he has her come in and starts off like a private transmission.
It was like they became a surveillance state.
Yeah, they had the
Yeah,
whole episode in the anime for it, where they showed us really a little bit of how it works.
yeah.
It was called forget what title it was, but it was like the sensory unit title, something like that. So I'm wondering, right? They say it's part of Konoha regulations. Who made the regulations? We know who can, right? Hokage can sign off. That's what the paperwork is that all Hokages have. But who signed it off? Because this seems
The
like y'all were
elders.
saying different from
Mm,
normal. Now
I
it
feel
seems
like
like it's
it.
really a thing.
I feel like it had to have been Kakashi because that's when they like rebuilt the village and restructured everything.
Exactly.
Had to have been Kakashi.
That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah. Yeah, they had the whole building. It looked like a crystal ball. Well, not really crystal ball. It looked like a water bubble of water.
Yeah. I think because they're kind of like they became obsessed with this idea of peace and safety. And because of this, they essentially enacted like a little surveillance state in the whole of Leaf Village with even with this whole like chakra thing, you know what I mean, where they're controlling the borders, who comes in, who doesn't come in, who's a stranger, who isn't a stranger. It's become like quite different to what it used to be, you know, where
Like
back in the day, people would just walk into the village, and now it's kind of like you walk into the village, you're instantly recognized as a stranger.
oh, you know what it is also? It's no longer Ambu or slash foundation based. Now it's still because we always had mind transfer stuff, right? Or mind transmission stuff. But before it was mainly Anbu that are the surveillance for the village. There is no more Anbu
Yeah,
now. I mean, there is, but not as it used to be. Right? They had to discontinue it because of Donzo's root.
Dunzo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
his root group. And actually, in that episode, they show like they tell you this is how it works, right? That if you've been in the village before, your chakra signature will show up, right? They'll ping it, and and so long as it's not a newly found signature, like you've never been here before, they just let everything pass through. Which is why in that episode they had random invaders come in and then their little like tests. Uh, I think it was like a surveillance test or whatever for Enogen was to figure out like how to pick out all the ones that are not supposed to, or at least were not recorded beforehand, be in the village.
You
So,
know, the Hidden Rain Village when Pain was running it, they had something, I guess, similar but also
similar.
different, where
yeah.
they knew everyone who was coming in and out of the village, and they had eyes on you. It was very eerie, but I really liked the Hidden Rain Village. It was really cool. Like vibes.
Yeah.
Speaking on the Hidden Rain Village, do you think that the rain was natural or they were controlling it with some sort of chakra and making it rain so that they could control the chakra of everyone that was coming in and out of the village?
I
No,
think it was
it's definitely
controlled.
nature.
You
What?
think?
Yeah,
I think it was nature because it had to have been. There's certain
I
places
thought it was
in real life
controlled.
that they just rain a lot, but it
Well,
could be
okay.
controlled too, though.
When we see in the beginning of Boruto when they go over to the village, is it still raining?
The hidden rain,
Yeah,
yeah,
really,
yeah, it's a little bit, but yeah, that's what
just
I'm
a
thinking. It's
little.
just
So
natural.
maybe it was enhanced. Maybe it was
Yeah, I
enhanced.
think
I
it,
mean, it was probably only a little bit because of animation, right? So like they just decided to make instead of pouring rain, it just pour rain, but the like the actual raindrops weren't that much. They were spread out.
Yeah,
You know how it is. And they have to like draw around the outline of the character so you could see that it's bouncing off of them. Right. So but no, so that mission log, right, that Shikamaru got from Ino. Ino says that it is from so long ago. What time could that mission log be about? Because I don't think it would be um, anything too recent. Because then why would you say so long ago? Because if it was within the last 3 years or within Boruto's lifespan, Boruto's only 15. She is mid 30s to early 40s, right? I don't remember exactly how old she is, but she's around that. So half of her life, Boruto would have been, or at least around half of her life, Boruto would have been around. And
I
if it's
think
anything to do with Boruto, I don't think she would say that's so long ago. I think it has to
no, I
be
don't think it has
before
anything
that.
to do with Boruto. I think it has to do with their team with Choji, and I think it was like a hint that they need to work together on something, and that was like a hint to do the private
Oh, so it was like
transmission.
an inside
Like,
thing that only
like
them
they're
two can
working,
know
they're
what they're
supposed to work.
talking about.
Like they were a team before, and now they're going to be a
Yeah.
team again at this very moment.
Could we
You
think
know,
of a specific mission though? Like for them
I don't
that
think
it
so.
could be used on?
I think it's
I
just
don't know. The
random.
only one I could think of is Asuma, but how does he play in? So I don't think it has to be a specific Team 10 mission. Wait, no, they're not Team 10, right? The Ino Shikacho of the past, they're Team 3. Ino Shikacho
Yeah, it might be
of
team
Shikamaru's
10.
generation. Could be.
Yeah, I think the same. I think a lot of this stuff, because I think they just altered people's memories, but the documents are still there. So you went back to look at the documents and see what's written there, who's been what, who's been doing what, and then
He
you can
does
connect the
say
dots.
that it starts to make sense if you flip Boruto and Kawaki's position. Um,
Yeah.
so maybe he's looking at a mission log that has to do with Boruto and Kawaki, right? And then you know what it could be? It could be the Boro fight, right? Because that was Shikamaru not wanting them to go. He didn't know anything at the time, and they only came back after Kawaki said, "You want proof? I'll get you proof." And then boom, goes in the teleporter or like the little portal.
Yeah, it could be a Kawaki thing too.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, but again, though, right? How would that be so long ago? Because that's what Eno said. Eno said so
Yeah.
long ago. This would have been 3 years ago in the current time.
And you're right. Every single piece of dialogue is important, and we have to take it serious. It can't just fly over our heads like that. It means something.
Mm-hmm. Not to mention, since like physical evidence wasn't, altered, maybe Shikamaru probably requested Ino to get Boruto's birth certificate, or in this case Kawaki's, because she doesn't know that like at that time Boruto was actually Naruto's son.
That wasn't a mission though.
Yeah.
He got mission logs.
Yeah.
So it has to be like a mission that's super important. It either has like things that guarantee this person is who they are, or it's things that this person says and then it'll flip on them because that's not what actually happened in the mission logs. And then the way he determines it is either you're corroborating the mission log, so you're saying you are who you are, or you're not corroborating it, meaning something went wrong. Know what I mean? Yeah. Exactly. Not connected.
Oh.
Yeah. Hmm. Oh, what if it's Toneri
Sure. Yeah, Toneri. But
in the
also
last?
Sasuke and Boruto going on that mission.
Which one?
The time traveler arc.
Oh yeah. That could be it too, because only
true.
Boruto would know. Because well, at the current time that they were in the fight, right? So like when he was 12, nobody knew that Urashiki was defeated, right? He was at the village. He was actually inside the village. They just got duped into going outside the village, and then Sasuke and Boruto come back from time traveling, and then boom, they're like, "Oh, it's over." And he's like, "What? What are you talking about?" So yeah, or well, not he, but they were like, "I guess it's over then." Sasuke said it, so it could be that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Also,
you know
not
what
gonna
I'm
lie.
thinking, right? Because they say curiosity, that's another red
Yeah.
flag or death flag for me, at least, that he's gonna die. Because you know the popular saying, "Curiosity killed the cat." So I'm really thinking they're building him up to die. Whether it's they build him up to die after he finds out like the entire truth, I don't know. Or maybe they kill him right before they find out the entire truth about what happened. I don't know.
You think Kawaki's killing him? Because I think it would be Kawaki
It
if
gotta be,
anyone's gonna kill him.
because everybody's telling him like, "What are you gonna do when people figure out you lied?" And he doesn't say
Yeah.
anything, right? He just dot dot
Yeah.
dot. So
He gets annoyed and leaves.
exactly,
Yeah. People are gonna
he's
know the truth, and
he's
then he destroy the village.
he's
Just
pushing it off. He's
send an
holding that
entire
off.
bomb. Okay. Also, regarding the mission logs for chapter, I think like the early chapters, like chapter 25 to almost 30, that when Kawaki gets introduced, they could probably look into those mission logs because I think before they ran into
Oh yeah, they were given the mission by the village to go and help help Konohamaru and Mugino whenever they got at that crash site.
fight.
That could be it too.
Yeah, it was like they were going to help Al and stuff, you
Yeah.
know, and then Al betrayed them. Al dies obviously because Kashin Koji killed him.
Yeah.
Then they fight Kashin Koji. Boruto gets his full karma.
That could be confirmation right there. That could be a confirmation point where it's like you activated karma against Kashin Koji, right? And then he says, "Yeah, so I'm me," you know.
Also, yeah, when I remember like in Konohamaru, especially like when the when you know Kawaki was fighting Garo, especially like episode 189, he said that the mission turned into an S rank.
Yeah.
So we could also have like accounts also regarding Katasuke and you know other people with the data that Boruto was a ninja for Konoha, not just some random airship dude.
Yeah. And I really feel like it is important. That mission log is not how they're portraying it right now, that it's, oh, it was just to get her to get a private line, because Shia was leaving. She was literally out the door, closed the door behind her, walking away. And then she was like, that was just an excuse, right? And then he was like, tell me what's going on. So yeah. And then set up a private line. And he told her to have nobody be able to watch. So that means it has to be because it involves the others. And who is the others? Konohamaru. He's his advisor. Where is he right now? Why wouldn't he be helping him do that right now? Because it's probably the Konohamaru mission. Well, Boruto and Sarda and Team 7 helping Konohamaru in their mission. But again, though, right? This is all 3 years ago. If it was so long ago, I don't think they would say 3 years. because it hasn't even been that long compared to Ino's age, right? She's 30, 40 almost. And 3 years is a tenth of your life. So I feel like it has to be something in Shippuden or even earlier. And I don't remember any missions that could be like proof enough for them to be like, oh, okay, I see something went wrong. Like, think about maybe they're looking for a mission that's similar to what happened to the circumstances that they think are real or not, right? So, like, a mission that kind of replicates omnipotence, there is none that I could think of, right?
Yeah. So, okay, moving on, we have the next scene is Ada, Damon, and Kawaki. And it looks like Ada has told Kawaki that the Ten Tails have evolved, developed self-awareness. And it's turning into something completely different than what it normally would do. And he asks, what about Code? Because Code was controlling them. And it is like, Code's ran off. They're out of his league. They're complete monsters. And then he tells Kawaki that they're not only after Otsutsuki's, but they're also after Naruto, which is interesting. It's a very good point. And we see Kawaki's not too pleased. And she's like, and me as well. And Kawaki quickly goes, well, straight to Lord Seventh, doesn't care about Ada. And Damon's sitting there, like, eating food. And Kawaki assures them.
Because Kawaki is like kind of a manipulator. He doesn't give a shit about Ada. He just cares about like using her own abilities for his own personal gain. And in terms of like Naruto, he has like a savior complex for Naruto. He sees Naruto as his own savior, the person who gave him like a second chance at his life, that took him from his hellhole, that was Kara.
Yeah, so
he takes that threat like very personal.
Yeah, so he says, no matter Lord Seventh is in my hands, I'll get rid of all of them. And Damon's like, hey, Kawaki, Boruto and Sasuke are the only ones that know Naruto is still alive. But if the Shinju start looking for Naruto, it'll give everyone a clue that he's still alive and that he lied to everyone. And Kawaki doesn't say anything. He just leaves. He gets up and leaves. And Ada's like, stop it, Damon, don't say such things. And it seems like Kawaki has some thinking to do. She's like, leave me alone. Where are you going? And Kawaki says, or Kawaki's like, leave me alone. And Ada's like, where are you going? And he's like, oh, you can just spy on me if you really want. Because, I mean, that's her powers. And he puts on his jacket. He goes inside, and there's Mitsuki. And he calls Mitsuki annoying. He's just being rude to him as usual. And Mitsuki's like, well, it's my job to guard you and Ada. Which it seems like he's been doing that the whole 3 years. Like, that sounds absurd.
Yeah, like,
you know what
sad.
that just established though? That means that they are they're on two different missions, Sarada and Mitsuki. Because Mitsuki is to guard them, which is what it used to be whenever it was the mansion mission, where like they go sit in this mansion with Kawaki, Ada, Damon, Boruto, and that's about it really. Because up until whenever they let Sarada and Sumire in, they didn't want nobody else. So, what is Sarada's mission? Because if you remember, right, chapter 1, when she was like mouthing off at Shikamaru, the Lord 8th, he said, just go back to your mission, right? And she hasn't been since those chapters. So it seems like she has a different mission than him, right? He's guarding Kawaki and Ada, or not guarding, but like looking over Kawaki and Ada, and she's doing something else. Because, what is that mission right there?
I think she has like a special.
Figure it out.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think she has like a special like private mission assigned to by Shikamaru, where Shikamaru's like starting to have his doubts about not Boruto, sorry, Kawaki. And I think like he just ended up like setting her essentially on this journey of like trying to find out the truth, because her and Sumire seem to be the only people that like actually doubt it, and Mitsuki is starting to doubt it a little bit, you know what I mean? And Shikamaru has been doubting it, and then Amado comes in and tells Shikamaru all this stuff, and Shikamaru's like looking over all this evidence, and he's like quite a logical person, you know what I mean? We got to remember, like, we're talking about the person with like the highest IQ in the whole village, probably, and like the most logical person out of all of them. So he believes in empirical data more than anything else. So, and if he's seeing like Sarada, who's like quite a clear, like honest person, hardworking person, like telling him all this stuff, and he finds out, I don't know if he has found out yet, but I'm guessing he has, that she's like awoken like the Mangekyu Sharingan and all this sort of stuff. He's gonna, and he knows how that comes about. He's gonna start to wonder and think about things, and he wants to hear more about it from her and everything. So I think it's a special private mission that Shikamaru has set for her to uncover more secrets about what's going on.
Yeah. You know what it could just be? I just now think I answered my own question. So she was with Ada, right? She was with Ada whenever they were talking about that they figured out more of what omnipotence is. I don't think that's the mission, right? Because he wasn't doubting it up until Amado, right? Whenever he overheard Amado's conversation. But maybe they're just working on the same mission and not together. Maybe it's like, Sarada, you got Ada, and Mitsuki, you got Kawaki, right? Because before the time skip, that's what he was saying. He was saying that both of y'all are for some reason not affected by charm, which he didn't know at the time was actually omnipotence, well, a byproduct of it. But just don't let them find out, because y'all might be what we need in the case that we have to kill her. So maybe it's Sarada got Ada, Mitsuki got Kawaki. That would make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah. And something Damon said, right? Because they don't really be having Damon do anything. Right now he's just eating. He got a little juice box, right? And it looks
he's
to
a
be
kid,
either a
to be
potato or
fair.
a piece of bread.
He has a
I know
burrito.
exactly. Oh, he has a burrito? I thought it was like a piece of bread or something.
I'd like to think it's a burrito.
If it's a burrito, that's funny. I don't know. But either way, though, right? He says, nah, that looked like a potato. All right, doesn't matter. So he says that Boruto and Sasuke are the only other ones than them, meaning Damon, Ada, and Kawaki, who are at the table, who know that Naruto is alive, right? Like he's questioning it. Why would he think Sasuke knows? We know why he thinks Boruto knows, but Sasuke is affected. There's no interaction or scenario that he saw for him to be like, oh, he's clearly, he knows that he's alive, outside of just the reason that Sasuke would possibly help him is like, oh, I believe you, right? So
well, I think it's most likely because he went off with Boruto and Ada can see them the whole time.
She said she wouldn't, though. Remember, she said
she wouldn't tell everyone else, but she can tell Damon. Damon knows. Damon's with her.
Say no matter how much Kawaki or Shika-san, what's her nickname? Shika Deer. That she wasn't going to tell them no matter what they want to do. But maybe it's just me, right?
Okay,
I don't think Sasuke knows that he's alive. Like everything that we saw of Sasuke before this episode chapter, is just him questioning Boruto, not the other part of the story that, Naruto is not dead and he didn't kill him. He's just questioning Boruto is actually Boruto Uzumaki, Naruto's son.
Okay, so the next panel would be Kawaki walks outside Mitsuki's there guarding, and he says, "Don't shift the blame, you hangnail." And then we see the tree. Maybe it's it's the tree where Boruto's sitting. And it shows Boruto sitting with Sarada and their Sumire. And they just say, "Oh, good to see you. You guys look good," vice versa. And he says, Boruto says he erased his chakra nature, so we know he can do that now. Mm-hmm. And he came there to tell Sarada about his master Sasuke. And tells him that, or tells Sarada that he was absorbed by the 10 tails and turned into a tree. And then it comes back to Kawaki and Mitsuki. And I feel like this scene right here is very important because Kawaki's like, "I feel it, Boruto's presence, he's here." And Mitsuki's like instantly like that's it. It ticked Mitsuki off. Boruto's here, I'm going. So then we see the snake come down from his sleeve. And and then it goes back to Boruto talking to Sarada about Sasuke turning to a tree, and they say that yes, other villagers have also been turned to the trees, and Boruto says, "And then to eventually devour an Otsutsuki whose chakra transforms that 10 tails into a divine tree." And then he says, "That's how it's supposed to go." So we see it from Boruto and Ada that the 10 tails is going a different direction than it usually goes. So this is something new and unexpected. He said, for whatever reason, they've already started evolving into divine trees, which is crazy. So Mitsuki goes and talks to Shikamaru and asks to find Boruto's location. But I found it interesting that he's asking Shikamaru, but it's like he instantly already got Boruto's location. He already knew where he was. Maybe Shikamaru as the Hokage helped him and had the sensory unit. Maybe, but he was suppressing his chakra. Boruto was. So regardless, Mitsuki was still able to find Boruto. This panel right here at the bottom, Mitsuki says, "I will head to where Boruto is. Remember, Boruto can detect Kawaki's aura too." And then the next panel is Kawaki on the floor with snake bites in his neck. Mitsuki literally bit Kawaki with some like sleep poison or something and got him to pass out. That's so sneaky and sly. I think that's like OP.
That's some Orochimaru level stuff.
No,
that's what I thought.
Shikamaru.
I was like, this is the son of Orochimaru.
Like you said, how does Mitsuki know where he's at? Right? Just because Kawaki sensed it. He asked Shikamaru to confirm it with Ada and pinpoint his exact location. And then later in the chapter, Boruto's like, "You could have made it so he didn't show up and interrupt us."
Yes.
Right? And then he was like, "Well, I gotta allow it," essentially. So that's how he found where Boruto is, even though he didn't know. Only Kawaki really knew. And Ada, obviously, because now he's back in the village, so all bets are off. Now I could follow, or now I could see what you're doing. But let me see something right quick.
I've got a little theory that there is a chance, like when Mitsuki first shows up, he's in full Sage mode, yeah? And Sage mode, as we know, essentially absorbs nature of chakra from the environment. So, and Kawaki also as an Otsutsuki can read other Otsutsuki like vibrations from chakra or whatever you want to call it. So what I think is that by activating the Sage mode, you sort of get somewhat close to that power. So that's one of the other reasons why he was able to pinpoint it, because we never actually see Mitsuki going up to Ada and asking her. Because if I feel like if he went up to Ada, she wouldn't tell him. And if he tried to force it, like I feel like Damon would have intervened. You know,
He asked
or do we see it?
Shikamaru to tell Ada. That's what happened. He asked
Oh,
Shikamaru. He was
okay,
like, "Hey,
okay.
can you confirm with Ada to pinpoint exactly where he is?" And then that's when he went away. Because I'm guessing, as Shikamaru later says, or at least implies, he told him it. Because Boruto was like, you could have not told him or whatever, So yeah, that's how he found it again, though. But do we think this tree and where they're sitting, right? Because they could be anywhere. They could be anywhere before they're in. If they're just gonna be on the outside of the village, why did they pick this tree spot? Now we know that this is an important location, right, throughout the series, right? This is the place that Mitsuki and Boruto first had a little argument over, right? This was when, in episode 12 called Boruto and Mitsuki, Mitsuki was telling Boruto that he knew who the ghost was, and the ghost ended up being Sumire, right? Which is funny that she's also in this area. But that's when he was like, "Hey, my mission, I gotta kill her, so I'm gonna restrain you until the job is done," which is kind of like what he just did to Kawaki. He restrained him, well, really incapacitated him, and now he's going over to kill the person, whoever he needs to kill now. So this tree, I don't know if they're, or not this tree, but this entire location, I don't know if they're calling back to that, but it would be a cool callback, right? It would be something like, "Oh my God, that's where they first fought. Not even fought, but had an argument." And then obviously Boruto made him see a third way, which is he saved Sumire and the village, which is what declared at the same spot. This same spot is not just a Boruto thing. It's the same place that Ryogi and Shikadai were playing chess at. This same spot, I think, was also in another Boruto episode. I forget what the title is, but this spot seems to be a place that is frequented by Boruto and the cast. So, do we think that it's some symbolism or for some reason that they picked this spot? Because they could be anywhere outside the village. They picked this spot though. This spot is the place, if you don't know geographically, this is like the staircases where they're going up to the upper part of the city, because there's a lower part which they call Old Town, and then they called the upper part above the Hokage faces the New Town, just based off of, you know, before they expanded up above the hill, above the rock mountain with the Hokage faces.
I'm not too sure why they picked it, but it seems like it's going to be their favorite spot.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be like,
that they're going to maybe bring up in the future again,
And also, why would they explain a tree? They're talking about divine trees and they're sitting next to a tree. Maybe, right? This is crack theory. Maybe they're like foreshadowing what's to come, because who is there? Boruto. Who's also there? Sarada. Who's also there? Sumire. And then Mitsuki. And they were talking about how that the trees are no longer doing how they were supposed to do, like how they're supposed to work. And I don't know, it's just like this particular panel, I mean, where the camera is a little bit turned, it's not completely straight up. It's like 40 to 35 degrees off kilter. And he says Master was absorbed by Ten Tails. Now, coolest perspective, right? Very good. But is it just because of it's like being a shock revelation, or not revelation, but a shock value shot, right? Like to emphasize that, oh my God, Master was absorbed by Ten Tails, which is not how he puts it, but like everybody else hears it like that. Is it just that, or is it really another way that they do with perspective foreshadowing? I'm thinking I want it to be foreshadowing, because I know when this is animated, right, that they're definitely gonna put the dun 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 dun. You know that song? They always use it whenever it's something revelation or something being revealed, they're always like, it's a particular one. I don't know. I can never replicate it, but I think most people know what I'm talking about. Where it's like,
Do you think they'll focus on the tree?
I think
Like a
so,
shot
because
of
like
just the tree?
it has to, because that why is it that's their spot, Like, and not just that, they're talking about a process of the divine tree. So mhm. Yeah. Well, no, this was their first argument, I guess. They first met in an alley. Yeah. 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 Mhm. Yeah. And again, right, in episode 12, which we're referring to, they were at this spot when they were first arguing over, um, what are you going to do, Boruto? Save your classmate, the class rep, or save the village? Because this was when Nue was attacking. And then Boruto was like, man, I don't believe you. I'm going to find out for myself. I'm going to have her tell me, right? And Mitsuki was like, I thought so. So then he hits him with a little snake clone, right? And then he grabs him and he holds him and he says, I'm going to keep you here until I finish what I got to go do, right? Which is kill Sumire, because Orochimaru had just ordered, instead of just observing her and seeing what's going on with the Gozu Tenno, which is the seal on her back at the time, now it's on her hand, uh, that he went over and he was like, no. And then Mitsuki, the clone version that's restraining Boruto, got, pooped out because Boruto hit himself uh, and got away. And now Boruto went over and they had a fight. It wasn't really a fight. They were just fighting Nue together, though. And then afterwards, Mitsuki comes to the realization that there was a third option, that he's going to save both. And he even credits Boruto being like, damn, you just keep showing me something I could never have come up with. Um, so I think, right, that they're basically playing it out again in the upcoming chapter, possibly, or in the upcoming 2 chapters, depending on how long the fight is. That just like how they had an argument over what's going on or what to do, they go away, have a little skirmish. Afterwards, Boruto shows Mitsuki something he could have never thought of, which is obviously that Boruto is actually Boruto and Kawaki is actually Kawaki, and that the reality was flipped, which is exactly what happened in the episode.
Yeah, okay. So back to the chapter. Um so we get to Boruto talking to Sumire and Sarada. And he says he doesn't know exactly how or why that the Jubi is evolving. But he said there's a strong possibility that code chakra is affecting them. And he says he may not be Notsuki, but he's got the karma that came from Ishiki, which is a lump of Otsutsuki existence. So Boruto saying that the fact that code has a karma means that it's going to help with the Jubi evolving, and his name is Code. And so, you know, when you go to the checkout to buy something and it says apply a coupon code, you know, it's kind of like the same thing where his code is the activation for the 10 tails. Now, did Amino know that this would be the case? Maybe if he named him code. So Sumire says karma, and then Boruto clicks and he hears Shikamaru talking to him in his head. And he said, I'm using a mind transfer jutsu. Answer without speaking out loud. Try not to change expressions either, which is interesting. And Boruto says, old man Shikamaru. And Shikamaru says, let me say this right off. The sensory unit is not involved at all. Ino personally connected us on a private line. It's an unofficial transmission that won't be logged. So, you know, Shikamaru that wants to play by the books, but here he is acting like a Hokage, you know? And Sumire and Sarada are saying, Boruto, hello, are you listening? And Boruto can't talk or do anything, you know, he's ignoring them. So a little bit after he ends up flying off after Mitsuki pulls up, but it's funny that he's just ignoring them. It's almost like he left them on a cliffhanger. But he said, I hear you've become Hokage. Are you sure you should be doing this? And Shikamaru said, some call me Lord Eighth, but it's not only out of convenience. I'm still only interim Hokage. I haven't formally assumed the title yet. And Boruto's like, that's not what I asked. And what basis should I trust you? And then Shikamaru was like, well, just quit arguing. You need to get out of there. You're about to have company. And then right after that second, he has a snake go around him to squeeze him. And then I don't know where there's a sword going flying at Boruto. And he's flying Raijin. He gets out of there. And there we see Mitsuki behind the other side of the tree. So there's some symbolism here. We have Sarada, Boruto, and Sumire on one side of the tree, and Mitsuki's on the other side of the tree. Yeah. And Boruto's like, Mitsuki, and Mitsuki's like, we finally meet again, Boruto. I've been waiting for this moment. Sarada's like, Mitsuki, wait, listen to me. And Mitsuki's like, move aside. I don't care what lies he told you. I can't control myself. Mitsuki's crazy stage mode snakes are going after Boruto. He pulls out purple lightning. And then we see another move from Mitsuki where he can get snakes to come out the ground. And then we see Boruto flying, which is Notsuki move, which is crazy. Like, he's flying now. And he literally, it looks like he's standing on a ceiling. He goes and props himself upside down. Mm-hmm. Which we've seen Sasuke do at the Hokage meetup for the upcoming war in Shippuden. So he definitely learned that from Sasuke. His Uchiha style.
He learned the teleportation sword thing from Sasuke too.
Yes.
He did it against Momoshiki.
Yes. But the thing is we see we see Boruto flies away, and then eventually Mitsuki catches up to him. But from what we saw earlier, Sarada, Sumire, and Boruto were on one side of the tree, and Mitsuki was on the other side. So now he came over to their side of the tree. To me, they're almost hinting that the next chapter they might fight, but Boruto's going to get him to be on their side. Maybe something's going to happen. He's going to switch up.
Exactly. He's going to show him a third option, like in episode 12. Oh, another callback was the move that he did, right? Striking Shadow Snake Assault. He did that in the anime against Shinki. It was the one that Shinki protected by surrounding himself with a wall of sand or iron sand. So we've seen the move before, but it's good to see it now.
But this time it's with Sage mode.
Exactly.
Yeah. So okay. So it seems like Mitsuki says Otsutsuki bastard. So it seems like Mitsuki has gotten some influence from Kawaki for sure. Which is hypocritical because Kawaki is also Otsutsuki. So Boruto says, Sarada, I swear to rescue Master Sasuke and everyone else who was turned into trees. as well as, and they look up at him, Sarada and Sumire, and Boruto stops for a moment, and he says, "No, never mind, I'll be back." Who do you guys think he was gonna mention that he will save?
I think it's Naruto.
Yeah,
think?
That's just
definitely.
me. I think it's Naruto because they just confirmed, at least, how reliable are they really? But they confirmed that only Boruto, Sasuke, Kawaki, Ada, and Damon know that Naruto is alive, right? And that excludes from the people that are immune, Sumire and Sarada. That's why I think he's talking about um uh as well as Naruto, because Naruto is alive, which is something that they don't know, but everybody else who is immune knows.
Yeah. So when we see Boruto flying, he says, "No, never mind, I'll be back." And then it shows a panel of him flying, but in the background we see the tree, and we still see Sarada and Sumire on one side and Mitsuki on the other side of the tree. And it leaves them speechless. And then we see Mitsuki with his powerful sage chakra going crazy, and he has a snake. And Mitsuki being sly and sneaky, some Orochimaru stuff. We see later he does keep a snake on Boruto to find his location. And in this scene, we see Boruto talking to Shikamaru. So Shikamaru says that Konoha, and not just Konoha, but the entire land of fire wants to eliminate him. And he says, and that's why he can't tell Mitsuki no, because as the Hokage, he's supposed to keep that reputation. But I feel like that's such a sorry move from Shikamaru. Like if he knew the right intentions, he could have said it, and people would have to agree with him because he's the Hokage. So I feel like that was a poor call on him. Yeah.
Which one, the first time or the? Oh, yeah, because
Right. But
that'd be cool.
so in the very next panels, he's saying, "Saving your own skin, eh?" Because he allowed Mitsuki to go after him. What exactly are you aiming to do? And Shikamaru said, "There are things I can see and do simply because I'm Hokage. So while I can't aid you openly, there are things I can do to support you in my own way. Plus, I want your help." And that's kind of like him saying, "Hey, like a Shadow Hokage thing, right?" Back and forth. But the very next panel, Boruto says, "No thanks." And then Shikamaru gets mad. He's like, "Hear me out. You're actually Uzumaki Boruto, aren't you?" And Inos was like, "What?" And then Boruto's like, paused for a second. So maybe in the next chapter or two, that might be a possibility. Yes.
I'm thinking that has to do with the mission log, because I cannot get over that mission log. Why is it so long ago? It's from a time that was so long ago compared to now, and he was gonna look into the mission log even if Ino didn't pick up on what he was actually trying to get her to do. And now he's asking Boruto for his help, but it's not about anything to do with what Boruto wants, because he's only saying you're actually Uzumaki Boruto as a like here convincing tactic to help me. I know what you're trying to do, and I know who you really are. So help me, and I'll do the same for you, right?
Right.
So it's a negotiation, and I think that your help, first off, that means, right? He says that he's or he can do things just because he's the Hokage, right? He can see and do things, but then he says there's some things I could do to support you in my own way. So the inverse of that deal would be there's certain things that only you can do, Boruto, uh, because you're Boruto, literally, and so you should help me. So I don't know, what could Boruto do that the Hokage can't do? I don't know. Teleport, obviously.
Right. So the next page, he tries to make things clear with Boruto, and he says, "And I apologize because though I say that, I'm still having trouble accepting the notion myself." And then he looks at him, he's looking out the window and looking at Konoha. He says, "In fact, it didn't even occur to me until Amino brought it up that my own memories might be fabricated." And Ino's tuning in. She's like, "What is going on?" It's a far, and then Shikamaru's like, "It's a far-fetched theory, but things are starting to fall into place. Things make sense when you flip your position and Kawaki's." So it seems like Shikamaru has solidified his decision at this point. And Ino has no idea. She's like, "What the heck? Is he being serious?" She doesn't want to believe it. And that's when he's like, "So tell me the truth, Boruto." And then Boruto lands and he says, "I've traveled quite a long way from the village. I should be beyond Kawaki's range now. How far does the mind transfer jutsu reach?" And he says, in Ino's case, I think it's about 100 kilometers around the village. Why? Boruto said, "I hate to break this off, but I got a loose end to tie up. Like he's going to fix Mitsuki, and there's a snake on him, so he knows. And there's Mitsuki running full force right at him, full sage mode. And he says, "Sorry, but I'm going to have to get a little rough with you, Mitsuki." So his conversation with Shikamaru's over. He said he'll be back soon to Sarada and Sumire, so it might continue. But it looks like he's going to rough up Mitsuki and fix him up. And that's where the chapter ends.
What does he mean by that? Because
he said he needs to tie a loose end. Uh-huh.
Well, that's what it was made. No.
You don't need.
No, so this is how it happened, right? Kakashi made the Chidori trying to put lightning style onto a Rasengan. This is before he had the Sharingan.
Yeah.
He used it, and because of the downfall of not having the Sharingan with it, he had tunnel vision. He couldn't dodge because he was just going forward with the attack. And then he had his eye cut and everything that happened with that. Obito ended up dying. Obito gave him the Sharingan. And then anytime after when he used Chidori, he had the Sharingan to like counter the movement of not really counter the movement, but make sure he doesn't get hit while he's trying to do Chidori. So Chidori doesn't need a Sharingan so long as you can actually react while you're running full force at somebody with Chidori. And then, right, Purple Lightning was made after Kakashi had lost the Sharingan after using it in the Kaguya battle. He made Purple Lightning as a substitute for Chidori, and essentially he just keeps the Chidori. It's not literally like this, but he just keeps the lightning, and he doesn't have any movement speed buff like Chidori, right? Like he doesn't go forward with the attack. He can actually just use it whenever. That's like we've seen it before with the Nue tail in episode 12, I think it was also. He just says purple lightning and then boom, cuts the Nue's tail off. He wasn't fast because he was just jumping into the tail, unlike the Chidori. So yeah, That's
Yeah.
why he could use it. Also, Boruto knew at least how to use the ability beforehand, before this chapter. He knew it
Yep.
in the manga version of the Chunin exams. He knew it in the anime version of the Chunin exams. Even though he cheated to do it in the anime version, but now it's
Yeah.
actually his, so. And
Yeah.
Mitsuki knows it too. Mitsuki did it against Ao too. I forgot in manga. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Well, outside of Boruto and Sarada and Mitsuki, right outside of Team Seven, they're not really prodigies like that. Like there's prodigies, but there's levels to these prodigies, right? Like clearly. Um, some prodigies are just prodigies in smarts, and then some are actual like in battle prodigies. Like Boruto's, he's you could really say he's both, but he's definitely at least battle, like a prodigy in battle. Yeah. And then Sarda, same thing, super smart, super talented in battle. But outside of them, a lot of people don't have like that much smarts. Look at Metal Lee's character, right? Metal Lee, he still hasn't even mastered the 8 gates. Um, Look at Iwabe, Denki, all of the other ones, right? They don't, even the main ones that are in the manga, Team 10, right? The new Ino Shikacho, they too are not outside of like Shikadai, obviously. I mean, yeah, outside of Shikadai, they don't master their things, but it's also because they get trained on the regular by their parents for most of the kids, right? Metal Lee always is training with his dad. Well, training is better than battle tests actually, because you could just keep focusing in. Oh yeah, but even then, they weren't really like outside of just Naruto and Sasuke. They didn't do much to actually win, right? They did their part. Exactly. So yeah, that's why. Like, look at Shikadai, right? In the anime, right, of the Chunin exams arc, he was saying uh, that him and his dad, or at least he implied that him and his dad do be training. Um, like definitely at least more than Boruto and his dad, because at the time, as we know, Boruto didn't like his dad, and he even learned damn near all his moves without his dad. Like he knew Rasengan because of Konohamaru, not Naruto. He knew Shadow Clone just off rip, right? He got it episode one. So and then we find out that Boruto says, "You think I would ever go to him to learn this or something to that extent?" So he learned it by himself, what seems like. And this is before he was at the academy too. So he didn't learn it in the academy. But yeah, no, Boruto is like the only real prodigy. You know, everybody else has their thing that they're good at. Well, Mitsuki is genetically enhanced, right? Like I guess you could say he's peak human, even though his body is not good for Sage mode. Like he's basically made to be good. And then Sarada would be a prodigy, but she hasn't really shown much, right? Like at least in battle. Sarada and Mitsuki. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he finally figured out a way to like combine his parents' two jutsus, like their signature jutsus. He figured out how to do it. So he can see through his ink birds. With like mind transfer. I don't know, it's wonky. You know how it is, mind transfer. But yeah, that was in the episode where I think it was the sensory unit episode. It was episode um where they talked about how the sensory unit works a little bit. Oh, 30, yeah, 33. Yep. Yeah. You know, that episode they also talked about Boruto, and it just reestablishes or reaffirms that he's a prodigy because Sai literally told Boruto that I believe you can actually learn the Super Beast Scroll Jutsu, which is a clan secret jutsu. It's not really clan secret, but like they are specialized for that. They're known for that jutsu. So in that episode, they also talk about Boruto is just a step above, um, even Inojin. But yeah, no. So, uh-huh. Oh, episode 12. Yeah, yeah, episode 12. Yeah. No, no. Even though I know it's real, right? I think
Yeah.
people still holding on to it not being real is I don't know why they still do. But I don't think it'll be in this chapter because we got to think about it, right? Jogon was in the first episode, in the first chapter. And if this is a big thing, right? Very clearly important plot point, why put it in another volume where some other as big plot points are in, right? Because as we know, every volume is 4 chapters, and we're on chapter 6 of Boruto, right? So that would be in the middle of the next volume, the second volume of Boruto. Will find the Jogan. No, so I think it has to be a volume of its own. Like it can't be this volume. So not within the next 2 months in chapter 7 or 8. I think chapter 7 or 8, 7 and 8, I mean, are gonna be for whatever happens to Mitsuki and what comes out of that. And maybe some more about what Shikamaru wants to do. Yeah. So Jogan, it'll come, but not anytime soon. Which is it's like the people that are mad about it. Oh, why doesn't it show up again? Because Toneri himself said it. Toneri himself said that the Jogon's turn isn't gonna be for a while. He said it in the anime, obviously. I think it was in episode what 15, or if not 15, 34. It's one of those episodes where Toneri was like at the end of the episode, either as an end credit or as the last thing before the credits. So yeah, Toneri himself said Jogan ain't coming for a while, so don't expect it. And even though it seems like it's been, now we're in the 7th year of serialization of Boruto, it's still not for a while. But again, if Jogan comes out, and not this chapter, it'll be in its own volume. So within 4 chapters of a volume, preferably at the start, just because, then we could get an entire volume about the Jogan. But how they be doing these cliffhangers, like in this chapter, it's the cliffhanger is that they're gonna fight. They might just cliffhanger that, and then the very next volume is about the Jogan. But yeah, no, I don't think they're bringing it up soon.
All right, so do we have any more points on the chapter, or do we cover everything?
Yeah, I was about to say, right? So when Shikamaru is talking about that things start to make sense when you flip Boruto's position and Kaoki's position, and then he's like, so tell me the truth, Boruto. He just before declared him as saying, you're actually Uzumaki Boruto, aren't you? And then later he says, or not even later, but the next page he says Boruto, and he ends it off at Boruto. So that's clearly that he still has doubts, but is the truth really gonna make him automatically be like, oh, okay, you're Boruto Uzumaki then? Because even though he's questioning it right now, what could Boruto really tell him to be like, oh, okay, yeah, only me and you would know. Boruto would know that. You have to be not even Boruto, Naruto's son, right? Because we're questioning who's Naruto's son. Is it Kawaki or is it Boruto? So it has to be something they two only know, or can at least both believe in as much as the other. And that would have to be whatever the plan is for Shikamaru. Because if we go back up to the beginning of the chapter, right? Whenever he's talking to the Daimo, or not the Daimo, the elders, I mean, they were talking about the Daimo. He says, yes, I am aware. So with your leave, ... and then he gets cut off. Why? And what are they talking about with, so with your leave? Because before they were talking about that the status of Konoha's honor, and that the Daimo is furious, all that. He says he's aware of everything. So with your leave, meaning whenever they leave, because I'm guessing that's what they're talking about. I don't think, how people are, I guess, somewhat surprised that these people are still alive because they should be like old, very old, which they are. Does he mean so with your leave as elders, or does he mean just when they leave this area, like leave the office or wherever they are at? Because if so with your leave is that they're gonna be replaced, right, with somebody else, that would be who would be next up in line for the elders. It would be Kakashi and Tsunade, most likely. And then that's how they could bring up the one statement from I don't know, what was it, 2017, where they were saying like, if I said what would happen, it'd be a spoiler. Whenever they were talking about, you gotta wonder why somebody as popular as Kakashi hasn't shown up. Maybe this is what they were talking about, that they're gonna be replacing the current elders with new elders, and one of them being Kakashi. I don't know though.
How would Kakashi be an elder though? Isn't he like in his 50s?
Yeah, but they were in their 50s when they became elders. Remember?
Yeah,
because they're like 30 years into the future from when they first became the elders, so it's around the same age range. And then Tsunade is definitely an elder.
I think the Sanin instead. Yeah,
The who? The Sanin?
Yeah, but I don't think Orochimaru would be an elder.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So it would probably be the last 2 Hokages, right?
Yeah,
before Naruto, it was him and Tsunade.
Kakashi would also be like very, very helpful for like
Mhm.
Shikamaru because he's like he has the brains and shit, and he doesn't really like he doesn't really get impulsed or like aggravated when something wrong happens, like Tsunade.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
overall,
and then that's how the two current elders are, right? One is super angry always. The other one is more reasonable. Like, but they both agree on the same thing. I
yeah,
don't know. I feel like that's what it could be
but
that they're talking about.
what it just feels weird Kakashi being an elder. I know he's in his 50s and he's also an
I
active
mean, both of them are like for never aging for real. Like Tsunade keeps up her appearance with the seal or with her little jutsu, and then Kakashi, he never ages really. Like he still has the mask covered over. So could be, and but that's only if so with your leave, which is what Shikamaru says, means that they're gonna like be replaced. It could just literally mean that they're gonna leave the area, and what he's gonna say next, we don't know because he got cut off. But what could he say next in the context of what they're talking about? They're talking about the Konoha's honor, uh, about killing Boruto, that all of that. And then he says, "So with your leave." He's aware of everything. So with your leave, what? Help me, or don't help me, or what? You know?
yeah. I was thinking, like, Shikamaru doesn't really want to be like an official Hokage because I
Mm.
know he knows something's up. I mean, he knows, I guess, kind of like Naruto's alive somewhere.
I don't
He's not
think he
dead.
does because
I mean,
he's
especially
right.
since he didn't find his body.
Yeah, but like the one of the elders, the female elder, says it has been 3 years, the period you yourself designated.
Hmm.
Stop dallying and formally accept the title of Lord Eighth. Why would he pick, right? Because he could hold it off what seems to be for at least 3 years. Why pick 3 years though? Why exactly 3 years? He designated for himself to do it. I don't know. I think this is all a part of this plan that he has that we just aren't seeing entirely right now. Because he even said, "I'll report back again soon. Have a good day." So he's gonna come talk to them about whatever he got cut off at, right when he said, "So with your leave." Um, Maybe he's talking about that I'm gonna be the Hokage, right? Like I'll finally accept it. So with your leave, I'll accept it. Maybe he was gonna say that, but I don't know.
Yeah, chances are Konohamaru's not going to become Hokage.
Yeah. Again, if we're thinking that if at least I am, if we're thinking that he's gonna die because of the revelations he comes to find out about in future chapters or even in the very next one, then what what then? Where it's gonna be another Donzo situation where the one that was supposed to be dies and the next one comes up. So Um, yeah, no, but again, Shikamaru got a plan. I don't know why people were downplaying him in the previous chapters and leading up until this chapter about, oh my God, they making him look so dumb. No, he has a plan. Clearly, he has a plan because he is looking at mission logs from whatever so long ago means. He's talking to the elders, right? That's why whenever we saw the elders as the first people we see, we were surprised. We were like, what? The elders? Because there's clearly something that he's doing that we don't know about. And also, right, where is Konohamaru in all this? We know why, like, we know exactly where he is currently. He's in, at least he was at the village whenever they found the tree of Moegi. But like, why is he not letting anybody else in except for Ino? Because he said, don't let nobody else listen or nothing. Not even his advisor, Konohamaru. So I don't know. Again, it's just what is this plan, and will he succeed in this plan, or just
Yeah.
like another one of his, I guess, father figures, died after figuring it out, right? Like his real father, he died after or right before he gave the plan to give them to defeat the Ten Tails. So like maybe it's setting up for another thing of like another Shikamaru. I mean, not a Shikamaru, another Nara clan member coming up with a plan, not being able to execute it, so he passes it off to everybody else after because he dies in the process of thinking of that plan.
So you're saying like Shikamaru will die?
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna die. I've been seeing too many death flags with him saying curiosity. Why would you say curiosity? He said, right, let's go to the exact panel. He's Ino says, "Why did you want it? This mission logs from so long ago." Shikamaru replies, "Well, call it curiosity. You could have said anything. You could have came up with any lie. He came up with curiosity." And then the phrase curiosity killed the cat, like I don't know, I feel like he's gonna die. And if he does die, they could make it similar to how his father died, coming up with the plan, figuring something out, and passing it on forth to everybody else. And it would also connect to another Boruto episode in the anime where Ao, right before he was in as a villain, where he was just in the village, there was an episode where he tells Ino and oh my god, hold on. I think I figured it out then. I think that's why it's only them two that are in on this little conversation because Ao in the anime told them what their parents actually because the question that they asked Ao was like did they actually believe well they didn't ask the question but they were basically questioning that did my parents, Ino and Shikamaru's parents, actually believe we were gonna win it? Like we were actually gonna defeat the Ten Tails with the plan that they gave us. And Al explained to them that yes, they really did believe in you, and they're proud, or they would have been proud of who you became. So that might be because we know that they like to bring up anime stuff in the manga. This could be it right here. What they are bringing up and why it's only Ino and him because they were the only ones that were told that whenever Al told them that they were the only ones present. And another weird thing is that in the anime episode of Boruto where they had that, they flashed back to the scene where they were about to get hit by the Ten Tails Biju bomb or whatever it's called, and it like shows that he said something, but you don't hear anything because of like a bomb explosion and the ringing, that type of effect. But that important, right? That thing that was important that he said, we clearly are left out of what he actually says, and you can't lip read because it's frames, it's animation. So, and Ao doesn't even say that. Ao just paraphrases it and says, yes, they did, and they would have been proud of who you became. So I think whatever that plan is that they, or whatever that answer that his father, Shikamaru's father, what's his name? Shikaku or Shika something.
Shikaku.
Yeah, Shikaku. Yeah, whatever he told Al is I think what they are calling back to right now with this little private line between Ino, Shikamaru, and Boruto. So I don't know, but yeah, no, a lot of things to question with this chapter. They as we get more chapters, we also get more questions. Right, the main ones that I see is what are those missions log about? Right, because they're from so long ago. Another thing is what was Shikamaru about to say before he got cut off by the elders when he said, "So with your leave." And then another thing, right, is how could Damon possibly know Sasuke knows that he's alive? Because even we don't see that, right? Sasuke never showed us that he knows he's alive. All we saw was that he knows Boruto, something is wrong, and I'm gonna just believe you. And I think I know why she told me to help you. You know, that's all we saw from him. So again, how does he know that Sasuke knows Naruto is alive? I don't know. I think that's something we're missing right there, and they're
I
gonna.
was telling you because Ada, bro, because Ada can see.
Yeah, but like again, though, she before the time skip said, "I'm not gonna." I know it was just to not tell them, but I don't think she would even use it, like to look into what they're doing. But then again, right? She did whenever he first arrived, so I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just
All
weird.
right. So it looks like we're gonna wrap up this episode.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining, everyone. Really appreciate it. This was the first time having Bug Hunter on here. He's from the UK, the other side of the world. So it's cool having different parts of the world join in, and hopefully we can have more scheduled out to let others join. And yeah, so if you listen this far, share with your friends. Check out, there's even a YouTube now. We got a YouTube, Spotify, Twitter. And yeah, join the Discord if you want to be part of future episodes. Thanks for joining.